What if I told you there is a righteous way to be angry? On this episode, I'm bringing on my good friend, Eliyah Brito. She is going to teach us what it means to truly heal her.
This is just a test. Like, it's always been a reminder of what he said, because when we're angry and upset, we lose sight of what he said. And it's so easy to do that. And again, that's our human nature. But the spiritual side should come in and be like, okay, hold on. We know you upset, sis, but we're not going to sit in this space too long because you're giving the devil too much room.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Kneeling on Business, the podcast. As you already know, it's your girl, Bianca, and I am here with one of my really good friends, close friends, actually, Mrs. Eliyah Brito. How are you, boo?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Yesterday was amazing. So I'm still coming down off of that. If you know, you know. But it was good. It was good.
What happened yesterday?
So yesterday we had our second Healing Her Spiritually Part 2. It was amazing. The Lord definitely exceeded, when I say expectations, I feel like what I went in with, I shouldn't have went in with that, because the Lord did exceedingly abundantly. And I'm just like, Father, you're so kind. Like you left no crumbs, literally. Yes. So I'm just excited. It was amazing. Amazing.
That's so dope, guys. Yes. And that's why we're here, because Mrs. Brito actually is the founder. She is the lead therapist of her own LLC. It's called Healing Her LLC. Yes. And guys, you know how I like to get down. I can say so much about this beautiful soul right here, but y'all know I love when my guests utilize the confidence that God gave them to talk about themselves. So Mrs. Brito, please brag on yourself. Let us know what you do, what's your accolades. You got some degrees. What do you do? Just tell us a lot or a little about you.
Okay. This is the hard part. I don't like talking about what I do or myself, but I am a licensed clinical therapist. Okay. I am the owner of my own private practice called Healing Her LLC, as my lovely friend said. I have my master's in social work. I got that from the University of Maryland of Baltimore. Okay. I got my bachelor's from the Bowie State University, and I'm a first generation graduate for both undergrad and grad. I'm a wife to the Joseph Brito. Come on. Okay. That's my baby. That's my man. That's my main thing. My 6'1" British. Come on. Guyanese. Come on. Caramel. Come on. All the things. That's my boo.
I love it.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a mentor. I'm a mentee. I'm a child of God. Come on. I am a daughter of the King. Come on. The one and only. Come on. Jehovah Jireh. Okay. Jehovah Shammah. Come on. El Roi. Come on. Okay, don't get me started. Okay. But yes, that is G, not little G. Okay, capitalize his name.
Okay, put some respect on it.
We need the big G, not the lowercase.
Yes.
So, yes, that is who I am.
That's amazing. And y'all, when I tell you the fact that God is so gracious enough to allow me to just be at a table with, what did she say yesterday? She called them spiritual Berettas. Like, to just be at a table with somebody of your caliber and all of my other friends, their caliber. Like, I'm just so grateful to God, because you guys are just amazing women. Not only just God-fearing, spirit-led women, but you guys are just amazing in general. And I'm just very gracious and just so grateful that God allows me to be able to sit with you guys. And so that's one of the things that I really love about Mrs. Brito, is that she literally is a woman of many hats, but she wears them humbly. So she is a woman of humility. So I love when people brag on themselves, because it is hard for people to do. People who have humility, it's hard for them to do. But on this show, we like to allow that confidence to shine through. Thank you for that, sis.
Of course.
Thank you for that. And before we get into the reason why we're here today, one more question I have, just a little icebreaker for the guests. Okay. If you can tell us 3 words, just one word, 3 different words to describe you and why. Okay. That would be good.
Word 1, I would say ambitious.
Okay.
Ambitious, because ever since I can remember, even the stories that my mom tells me when I was young, no did not exist to me. And if there was no valid reason why you tell me no, I was going to find a way to get it or have it either way. Come on. So definitely ambitious. And I've seen how that has translated to adulthood. Even being the first to go to college in my nuclear family, it was just like, there was no money for it, but I found a way. I was going to go. Period. Even with certain jobs, you don't qualify, I got in. So not just by my own strength, but the Lord definitely opened those doors. Yeah. So I say ambitious, and then I would say empathetic. And not just because I'm a therapist, but I truly have a heart for people. And I realized that, and that's what led me to therapy. Ever since I could remember, I would have friends in elementary school and middle school. We don't like the way you talk because you talk like an adult. You never let us just be mad. You always have a solution. I mean, because what you mad for? Let's just, what we mad for? So ambitious and empathetic, and I would say determined. And I kind of feel like that coincides with another one, but I would say determined because anything that, again, I set my heart out to, I want to achieve it. Like, I'm determined to see the glory of God in my business. I'm determined to see the glory of God in my marriage, in my family, in this world. And any way I can be a part of that and help transcend that, that's what I want to do. So yeah. And I agree with all those things. I agree, especially the empathetic one. I feel like, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you get that from your mom also, because your mom is a really, really big empath. And I think that is a beautiful gift to have. Because it's one thing to sympathize with somebody, but it's another thing to feel what they feel and know how to steward it well. And God only graces certain people with that gift of empathy, because Jesus was empathetic with his disciples and just with this with the people in general. He empathized with us so much that he actually got on the cross and he died for us. He did.
While we were still sinners, he died for us. Okay.
And still are.
Okay. And still are. So that is a great, great gift to have. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that with our guests. I'm sorry, with our followers. But let's get into this thing. Because Mrs. Brito, my God, today, she has literally exceeded all expectations. Not saying that there were expectations to begin with, but I remember talking to you before you launched Healing Her. And you were like, well, I'm thinking of doing something, but I don't know. I know that there's a need for a lot of Black Christian women mental health therapists. I remember you saying there was a need for that.
Yes.
And I remember having a conversation with you and you're like, I don't know, like I'm thinking about it, but I don't know if we're going to like do this or not. I know it's on my heart, but I don't know. And then here we are with just finishing the second event through Healing Her. So tell the people, before we get into Healing Her, tell the people what led to your healing journey. What, if you don't mind sharing, this is a safe space. What led to you taking this journey of healing?
I'll try to do this without the waterworks. I think there's a time when you just get tired of yourself and you come to the end of yourself. And that's what happened. I just got tired of the same old things, tired of the same responses, tired of the same feelings. Like, it was like I was on a clock. It was like clockwork. Like, every time around this time, I would feel this way. Or every time someone did this, I would respond this way. And I just got tired of doing that. And I'm like, something has to change. And it's not everybody else. It's okay. It's me. So what am I doing, or what am I not doing to show up the best that I can be, or who God called me to be? Because honestly, the way I used to be, I was not showing up as God's best. I was not showing up as, a good representation of Jesus Christ as my savior. And I got tired of that, especially when people do see you in this, this light or whatever. It's just like, am I really walking in that, or am I putting on a facade? And I just got tired of doing the same old dance. So I came to the end of myself. And I said, Lord, I know it's not everybody else. So what do I need to do about me? And when I say he peeled them covers back, I said, okay, Lord, easy on me. Come on. You ain't have to, you have to do all that. You could just give it to me in doses. But when you ask God to reveal you to yourself, he will do it. And it's not always pretty, but the beauty that comes with it is the process. That's why he says he gives us beauty for ashes. And I had a lot of ashes to give the Father. And he has given me a lot of beauty in exchange. And it's an ongoing process. So just knowing about my journey, I was like, okay, I know I can't be the only woman or the only person dealing with this and needing a good connection in my healing journey. So a lot of times people don't have someone to walk with them through. And if I didn't have the mentors that I had, Jesus, my God, I don't know. I really don't know. I know that God puts people in your life for a reason. And the people that he put in my life at the time that he did, literally saving grace. Literally. So I was like, I want to be that connection for somebody to help them walk through their journey, because it's not easy. It's not easy and it's not pretty.
Yeah. And that's so real. I feel like a lot of times when we are walking through any type of suffering, the minute we get through it, we're like, oh, finally, now the healing process starts. But people don't realize that healing hurts also. It takes a lot out of you to heal. Because once you've gotten through the thing that led to the healing, now you actually have to work through getting over that part and healing and trusting God to move forward. So I want to ask you, as a mental health therapist, what are the challenges that you face or that women may face when it comes to their healing journey that we don't really expect?
I think one of the biggest things personally and what I've seen is acceptance, like knowing the role you played. And it's so easy to point out other people's flaws and where they've messed up. Yeah, they did. But what about what you did? And that's the hardest part that I have seen is acceptance, and accepting the fact that you did. Maybe in someone else's story, you're the bad guy. Even if you are the bad cop in someone's story, when they see you again, if they ever see you again, the change that you've gone through because of your healing journey and you took it seriously and you actually did the work, you got to do the work. The change would be undeniable. So they might still have that stain in their story of you, but what they see right now in the present, they'll be like, oh, well, who is this person? So I think that, and another thing is boundaries.
Let's talk about that one.
Boundaries. OMG. So boundaries they're difficult to implement, especially when you're not used to putting them in or they're uncomfortable to put in.
What is a boundary for those who may not know?
A boundary is a fine line that you put between you, a situation or a person or a thing, and saying you can't cross this because if you cross this, it's either harming me or it's making me uncomfortable. And I'm not going to allow that. So boundaries are very important because without boundaries, you kind of regress in your healing, you forgo your healing, and it's hard to maintain. So in my practice, I always press to everybody that comes across my virtual couch. I like to say, if you don't implement your boundaries, you might as well clock out right now. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying that it's easy. So I don't want to make some, if you don't put in boundaries, you can't be my client. That's not what I'm saying. But I will definitely push you and encourage you because if we're doing all this work and then the people that you're telling me about and then I'm helping you process and you can't put these boundaries in, it's going to undo that work. It doesn't happen overnight and it doesn't happen in a year all the time. But if you're not even doing the work to implement it, then we have a bigger problem. So without boundaries, you just might as well continue to choose to be unhealed. And that's so good. That's so good. One of the things that I am working on personally is understanding that boundaries is not a negative thing. Boundaries, like you said, is something that's going to help me not to forego my healing journey. It's actually going to help encourage my healing. So like, what is a practical way for somebody to instill a boundary during their healing journey? And specifically, let's say for somebody who is in marriage, let's just give that example. And when dealing with your partner, that's a little tough one. Most of the times when we're healing and we're in a marriage, our partner identifies that we are going through a journey, or they may identify the things that we're healing from before we did. And they don't necessarily call them out because, maybe they don't want to, push the wrong buttons or they want to make us upset. But when you do decide, okay, I recognize this as a problem, and you take that journey, I think that if your partner is supporting you, they will have already identified, hey, I think this is what you need. Let me know if this is what you need. If I'm reading the room right. But if that's not there, you can simply communicate, hey, honey, how you doing? Hope you're well. Praise God for your life. But I'm going through something right now and I just need a little more grace in this season. And that grace can look like, okay, maybe I can't cook dinner every night. I can't cook a fresh meal every night. Or, hey, I know that we do date nights, I don't know, every week. So can we kind of like maybe do this instead? Like replacing the things that you need to replace for a season, not forever, but for a season until you can get to a place where you can do those things more freely, mentally, emotionally, physically. You can just do them more comfortably. And I think communication is key. So communicating to your spouse, instead of just getting upset and losing patience, communicating like, hey, I'm not feeling the best today. I had a therapy session with my own therapist and she brought some things to the forefront and I don't like it. So if I'm short, it's not you, it's me. So please understand that I just need some space. And it's not because I don't want to be around you. Like, I love you, but I have to process this, and I don't know how long it's going to take me to process, but I will definitely keep you in the loop so you're not in the dark.
Yeah, that is so good. That is so good. And you honestly, like I said, I always say this. I sit, the good thing about me having friends who have caliber is that I get to sit at a table and I get to learn and I get to glean. So like, I know for me, one of my struggle points is not assuming that my husband can read my mind. You said when you are setting boundaries with your spouse, go to them and be like, hey babe, like I love you.
Yeah.
I cherish you. I'm here for you. Like it's to lead with gentleness and kindness and love and patience. Like how important is that? Not even just for a spouse, but how important is that for just in any situation is not assuming that other person can read or know the boundary that I have set if I don't say anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that is so good and that is so key, Eliyah. And I think that honestly, a lot of us, we get so caught up because we just assume.
We do.
We just assume.
What's the saying? I don't want to say the word because it's a curse word. But the whole assumption thing is like when you assume you make a out of you
yourself?
and not of me. So yeah, and I think that's definitely on brand for assumptions because they only lead to the worst. And I think sometimes we feel an emotion so strong, the assumptions become truth.
Yes.
And because I know this person so well, or I know my spouse so well, I know my friends so well, what I'm assuming has to be right because I feel like I know them. Like, oh, she didn't speak to me today, or she took 2 days to respond to my text. Oh, I know she mad at me, or she got a problem because I said X, Y, and Z. But when you really communicate, hey, I feel like there's something not right. So am I reading the room wrong or am I right? Girl, my phone been dead.
It's been dead.
It's been dead. I can't find my charger. And it's completely the opposite of what you were feeling. Now, I'm not saying that there's a difference between discernment and assumptions. Now, if you're discerning something is wrong, don't go in there on fire. Don't go in there on fire. Definitely communicate like, hey, I'm kind of sensing something is off between us. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
And they may say, yeah, actually, I've been feeling this. Yeah, we need to talk. Let's meet up for coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, our assumptions are just things that come from emotions because we feel we know someone so well and it becomes our own truth, but it's not truth. It's a lie. And it could be also the enemy playing with your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. That's good. Baby, let me tell you, because the stories that we allowed to be created in our heads because we don't have the courage to have those conversations or to communicate is detrimental.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm realizing, and you can touch on this too, is that our emotions are not bad.
Yeah.
They're just not valid. Or they don't validate us.
Right.
I'm sorry. Did I say that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Our emotions. Okay.
Like our emotions are valid, but they're not like the truth.
Yes, they're not the truth. There you go. See? Come on. Come on. I think one of the things that I'm working through in this season is being okay with the fact that God gave me emotions, and then going back to the one who gave them to me with those emotions. So how can we check our emotions with God practically? Because like I said, y'all, she is a Christian mental health therapist. So everything we talk about is going to point back to the Father. So how can we, during our healing journey, practically check our emotions and point them, and go back to God with them?
Yeah. I always tell people like talking with God is like, you have to learn, see and understand you're talking to, it's like talking to a friend. Yeah. I'm not saying go to him, oh, yo, what's up, God? You know, you come with some reverence and some respect, right?
Yes.
But as easy as we pick up a phone and say, girl, somebody made me upset, like we need to go to God with that. And I think a lot of the times, and I even struggled with this before when I was like a new believer, like God can't handle what I'm feeling. God, if I tell God that I'm upset, he's going to be mad at me. Wow. He's going to be mad at me if I'm upset. So, but what I've learned is, especially if you look through the Bible, they was crying out to God.
Crying.
Lord, I feel forsaken. Lord, this is my lot. I should have just been dead at birth. You know what I'm saying? And I love to look to biblical characters because it brings me comfort knowing like, dang, they went through some stuff too. So when we go to the Lord with our authenticity, he sees that and he can help more. And it just opens the door for us to get the scales off of our eyes to say, oh no, God sees me. He gave me these emotions and he's not, blind or even ignorant to the fact that we have feelings. He knows we have. He created us. He knows that we have feelings. He wept.
Come on.
So it's just like, if I cry, these are emotions I can take to the Father. So it's just like when we do have these emotions, whether we're mad, whether we feel like we're mad at God or other people, we have to be honest.
Yeah.
Lord, you didn't send me my husband at 25 like I wanted. So I'm upset with you. I feel like you're withholding a good thing from me. But then we get into thought capture, and this is something we do in therapy, thought capture, and you're taking the negative thought and replacing it with the positive one. Lord, you didn't bring my husband. I feel like you are withholding a good thing for me. Here's a positive thought. Well, Lord, your word says no good thing would you withhold from those you love. That's the positive thought. And even though you may not feel it and believe it in that moment, you have to get that negative line or that negative truth out of your mind with the positive one. And the more you recite the positive, the more you know that the more you will get your mind to believe it. Because a lot of times you just feel like, okay, I'm just gonna be angry, and because I feel like I can't take it to God, I'm just gonna leave it to me or go vent to a friend. But that's not your solution. If you're mad at God, you need to take it to God. If you're mad at your friend, you need to take it to a friend. And that's biblical. You got to go to the person. And since God is our manufacturer, for example, you can't take an iPhone you can take it to one of them shops in the mall, the little people, to fix your screen. But if you take it back to Apple, they go, like, we can't fix this because you had someone else. You had another person try to fix this and they weren't the original manufacturer. So we can't go over the work that they did. So it's similar with God. When we go to God, it's just like, well, you already went to the world and now you're already filled up with things of them that's hard for you to see me. So we need to get some things out of your heart so you can see me as your father, as your friend. I love you. I'm here for you. I want to know how you're feeling. I already know how you're feeling for one, but I just want it to come out of your mouth. So I think we just have to get to a place where we're comfortable and confident knowing that God sees and he's not surprised. He doesn't have a limited capacity to handle what we're coming to him with. He has more capacity than we do. When we feel like we can't hold it anymore, that's why it says, lay your burdens down. Lay your burdens down. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. It truly is. And that might sound too cliche for people, but it's the fact of the matter. His burden is easy and his yoke is light. His burden, I said it backwards again, didn't I? My burden is easy and my yoke is light. And that is a fact. And I'm a living testimony of that. So I'm going to speak the truth. It's the truth. And I think that when we do go to God, and I feel like with people, we get an immediate response, right? And for some people, they need that immediate response from a person. And that's okay too. At the same time, if you are going in a cycle and you keep feeling that way and you have only went to people and you haven't went to God, you got to do something different and be willing to wait for how he wants you to get through that situation. Wait for his response to your situation and wait for his solution to your situation. So vent to him, cry it out, write it out, yell it out. I'm not saying be disrespectful now.
Okay.
I'm not saying
have some reverence.
Have some reverence. But let him know, like, Lord, I just need to get this off my chest. And I'm telling you, feel so much lighter. There has been many of times I went to God in my closet, even in my car. Lord, I am PO'd. Okay. I can't believe this happened. This is the opposite of what you showed me, what you said, like where you at? But it's always been peace be still. I'm still with you. This is just a test. Like it's always been a reminder of what he said, because when we're angry and upset, we lose sight of what he said. And it's so easy to do that. And again, that's our human nature, but the spiritual side should come in and be like, okay, hold on. We know you upset, sis, but we're not going to sit in this space too long because you're giving the devil too much room to operate and have his hand just completely dismantle what God said to you. So we're going to take this anger to the Father because it's safe there. It's not always safe in people's hands or ears, because they will either use it against you. They could try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Interfere with what you're going through, or just see it as a weak spot and then take advantage of you. God is not going to take advantage of you. He's not going to talk about you. He's not going to spread your business out there. He may give someone some discernment, like, hey, go pray for her, or hey, go talk to her. But he doesn't give them the full book of details. So I think there's so much safety and so much security in going to God first with our emotions.
That is honestly so real. Jackie Hill Perry even said it like a couple weeks ago on her live. She said, what if we were quick to fall on our face when something happens? She said, what if we were as quick to fall on our face when something happens than we are to picking up a phone and calling our friend? She said, who was it in the Bible? David. Every time he went through something, he fell on his face. He would cry out. You know, what if we had that same unction? What if we had that same discipline? Instead of calling one of our friends or our husband or our family members, what if we called on our Father first? You know, so thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So sis, you talk a lot about anger. So I want to know, how has God healed you from some things that you have struggled with? Because we can only talk about what we go through and what we have a testimony for. So just share with us how God has literally transformed you as it pertains to your healing journey.
Yes. So I want to caveat, go back to the, running to God first and running to people, because we're not saying community is bad. Community is very good. However, there is, again, that time and point where you keep getting the same responses, but you still don't have a solution.
Absolutely.
You need to run to your Father first. You can run to your friends afterwards if God releases you to do that, or you feel comfortable doing that, but definitely run to the Father more than to your friends. Because community is amazing. We should have community, but they also can't give you the solution. And if your community is not pointing you back to God, might want to reevaluate.
That right? That part.
But anger, OMG. Oh, Lord. So, this face that you see has not always been. Okay. This girl has come from process and progress, and the Lord really reeling me in. Yeah. I will say, ever since I was young, I knew I had a gift. I knew I had something. I just didn't know what it was. I remember even seeing things when I was younger. Like, I would have visions and I'm like, what, Lord? And then it actually happens. I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. So I would go on about my life.
Not the crazy.
Maybe I'm just crazy. Because like my mom was Christian as well, but we didn't grow up in church. So those things, people operating in gifts, it was foreign for a while. Yeah. But anger, I have seen a lot in my family. Yeah. It's definitely something that runs in my family, unfortunately. Yeah. And I would say on both sides. It's not easy. So I have a childhood nickname.
What's that nickname, sis?
Layla.
Okay.
So I'll tell the story of Layla. So I was a fighter. I was minking.
Mink.
If you went to the Healing Her event, you know it. Mink. Okay. Shout out to Shania. I was a fighter. Yeah. So when I say every day, my mom would drop me off at work. I mean, not at work, at school, 8:15, 8:30, the principal would come get her. I'm tearing up the classroom. I'm tearing up the teachers. Yeah. I done took something from somebody and threw it at somebody's head. Like, it's just, for what? Like, why? But as I got older, I knew. But I got the nickname Layla because we were at church one day. And I was a tomboy. Like, when I say tomboy, cornrows straight back, mom don't put no beads. I want straight, yes, tomboy. Had my Gap suits on, like sweatsuit. It was the whole thing. And I went to play football with the boys. You're a girl, you can't play. So he pushed me down on the gravel. I said, oh, you think because I'm a girl, you got the wrong girl.
You got the wrong one.
Because I'm about that life. So he ran to his mom after he pushed me. I was like, okay, run to your mother. I don't care. So he stands next to her and I'm looking at him. He's smiling like, oh, you ain't going to touch me. Bop, right in his face. I sure did. Right in his face. And his mom was like, where's your mother? I'm calling her. And I'm just sitting there like, go get her.
Go call her.
Your son pushed me first. So my mom came downstairs, the boy mouth bleeding. She's like, Eliyah, what did you do? I was like, well, he pushed me first. Because my mom always says, my daughter does not do anything unless something's done to her first. Yes. And that is still true to this day. I'm not just going to respond just because. Yeah. So she was just like, well, what did you do? I said, well, mom, he pushed me. She was just like, well, your son hit my daughter. What you want me to do? So the mom was upset. And then she was like, well, if his teeth is messed up, you going to pay for the dental bill, all the things. And then my godfather at the time, my mom told him what happened, expected him to, like reprimand me. And he was just like, that's right, baby girl. My mom was so mad. Yep. He was like, if he wasn't a boy, I probably would have had a different response. But she hit him back, and she's a female. He's like, absolutely not. I don't agree with that. So I'm gonna commend her for defending herself.
Period.
But that's how I got the name Layla Ali. My aunt, after she heard the story, she was just like, you just like Layla Ali, just fighting left and right. And so that's where the name Layla came from. But I've always been a fighter. And as I've grown older, I realized that I wasn't really fighting the people. I was fighting something within me.
Come on.
I was fighting the loneliness I felt. I was fighting the lack that I felt like I had in my life. My dad was not, at a point in time, he was not always present. So it was a lot of, okay, daddy-daughter things and wanting that relationship. But every weekend being disappointed, me and my sister waiting a step and you're never showing up. So at a point I was just like, well, if my dad doesn't want to do this, or he doesn't want me. I'm just going to be fighting everybody. But really, I was fighting myself.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're young, you don't have that language. But as you get older, and definitely being a therapist, it's like, oh, dang. I'm labeling everything. Oh, that was this, that was that, that was that. But I'm grateful for that experience, because now when I have people come across my virtual couch, or even at the school that I was working at, I love bad kids.
Yeah.
I just love them, because it's like I see myself, and it's also like people don't know how to, there's a level of grace and patience, and it's a gift to work with troubled students, and I just love it. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, send them all to me. And at one point when I started, I had all the we call them high A-listers. And I had all of them. They was like, wow, you giving a new person this caseload. But when they read my record, my resume, they was, oh no, she got it. And I sure did. And I love those kids. But it's just like, it takes a certain level of grace. And I feel like if I didn't have that personal experience, I wouldn't know how to deal with them. I wouldn't know how to respond, and I wouldn't know how to empathize with them. Yeah. Because when I see them, they're not fighting us. They're not fighting me now. I'm telling you, they be tearing us up. But they're not fighting us. They're fighting something else. So that's what I learned. And anger is never a pretty thing. It's a strong thing. And it's something that the Lord definitely has to deal with. And I've had to realize that, okay, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than me just going to therapy about it. I actually need to pray that the Lord show me the root of this. And it's in my family. And so we have to, break generational curses and all those things, but definitely have learned it from some people. Yeah. You know what? And I used to say all the time, God, I don't know why you allow certain things to happen to certain people, but it's clearly evident that God purposed your pain, because you're now able to advocate for those who don't have that language, for that anger or that thing that they're wrestling with as a child. You know what I mean? Like you had to go through that in order to be able to help another little child, like another, not saying little, but just another child, to say, you know what? It's not you. It's something that I'm dealing with. And I don't know how to put the words to this, but I know Mrs. Brittle, she can help me through this, because it's going to set that person up for success as they get older. It's going to help them grow. And so thank you for sharing. Of course. And when you don't have that experience and that ability to be empathetic towards that population, you write them off so easily. I can't tell you how many counselors, how many teachers just wrote me off. Especially I grew up in Montgomery County. So, I mean, not so much now because it's gotten a little bit more diverse, but when I was going there, it was literally like I was a pepper in a bowl of salt. Okay. So I was just saying that it was like a piece of pepper in a bowl of salt. So they see this black angry girl. She don't have a dad. She just has her mom. Her mom's a single black female. This is why she's just done for. She's going to end up in juvie, all these things. Like, I just got written off. But I had one teacher in middle school. Her name was Miss Weidman. She did not play. Okay. Black teacher, just authentic, and was like, you gonna do right. And she was amazing. And she helped ring me in. And I had another teacher, Miss Green. She was a Caucasian teacher, but she wasn't playing with me. My mom gave her permission to spank my tail. And if she had the opportunity, she would have spanked my tail. But she was like, you're not going to be this. You're very intelligent. I don't care what these other teachers are saying about you. I don't care what your record says. You're going to be a good student, and you're going to be successful. So when you have, it's so vital, especially in our school systems. If you're a teacher listening to this, or if you're a therapist, or if you just work in the school system, I want to encourage you guys just to know that you have to show up and show these kids something different. Because at home, they don't have that different. They see the same old things. They're seeing the trauma. They're seeing the drama. They're seeing the drugs. They're seeing the alcohol. They need to see something different. And it's not always going to work the first time, but your consistency is key. You sticking it out and not writing them off. They already got people writing them off. They don't need another person writing them off. So have to stay consistent. That was a little tangent. But when you have those people in your life, it definitely helps you ring you in, because I wasn't believing in myself. I was just like, I'm just going to end up however. But that wasn't God's purpose and plan. So,
and it's not a tangent, girl. It's passion. And it's beautiful.
Oh,
it is beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, E. Like, no, like, this is good. This is some good stuff. And me working at an inner city school, I see it a lot. I see it a lot. And working in the special ed department, I don't necessarily do what you do. Baby, you one of his strongest soldiers. Y'all, the stories that I have heard.
Listen, be hemmed up.
Listen, okay. But just the fact that working in special ed, working with kids who have these behavioral issues and then having to meet with the parents. And it's like, you write these kids off, but then you meet mom and dad.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, I see.
Yeah.
I see now. And so it's important for us to speak into what their potential is, because they're probably not getting it from home.
No. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they are not.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are in foster care or like, the foster care system, they're definitely not getting it. And it's far few in between that they are getting it. So they need that consistent, loving, kind, true. Because they can tell if you're fake. They can see right through you. They know whether you're real or fake, and they will test you on it.
Girl.
So you have to truly show up authentic. And if you know a certain child is not up your alley, don't even try to do too much. Get them to someone who is, because they can see and feel whether you really like them or not. They know whether you really mess with them or not. They know, okay, she about to leave in 2 weeks. I'm even going to build a rapport. I'm just going to make her life hell. So they can sense all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So good. So y'all, I'm telling you. And I know we've been talking about it a little bit already. Yeah. But we're going to now actually dive into healing her.
Yes.
We're going to like, girl, she's been healing us. If you guys agree, please just put healing her in the comment section, because this has been so therapeutic, like so therapeutic. And it's teaching me as a mom, one, to not speak to what I see, but to speak to what God has given. How can I put this? Not to speak to what I see, like currently in the bad behavior, but speak to what God says about them, to see my children how God sees them. That is so imperative as a parent, as a teacher, as just an adult in general. Because like you said, these children need that. They're not getting it from somewhere. Their behavior is a lack of something that they're not getting. So we have to fill that cup, fill that void. So that's so good. But tell us, Mrs. Brittle, about Healing Her LLC. Tell us all the things, guys. Guys, she has her own business, her own mental health therapy practice, guys. And it is bomb. But I know some, but I want you to tell us all about Healing Her.
So Healing Her, our motto is healing is a journey, grace yourself. And that came from me and my journey, not gracing myself. And then when I got to a point where it's just like, how hard am I going to continue to be myself? And then I feel like I got to start at square one because I'm so hard on myself.
Wow.
So I was just like, no, if God gives me grace, why can't I give myself grace? Who am I? If the Lord God Almighty is giving me grace, who am I not to give myself grace? So that is where our motto came from. And believe it or not, I was actually very hesitant to start a Christian-based therapy practice. I was just like, okay, a lot is going on in this world. People are leaving the faith. People are trying to join the faith with other things and trying to be mixy. Are people even going to come into my chair? Or people are going to just see me, oh, she's a Christian, I'm just going to write her off. I'm not going to go to her practice. But God definitely showed up and showed out because he was just like, okay, you believe in me and you know I gave you this business. I put it on your heart. How much more should I supply it? I'm going to make sure you're good. So still hesitant. I'm still like, okay, Lord, you said this thing, but I don't know. Like, should I put Jesus on the website? Should I put Christian on the website? Or should I just keep it between the people that say they're Christian? But I was just like, no, atheists are very bold about what they're very bold. Muslims are very bold about who they believe in. Everybody's very bold about when they're anti-Jesus. So how dare I? Shame on me if I even try to be, what's the word I want to use? If I even try to be courteous to say, okay, I'm not going to say Jesus in my website because it might offend you. No, I'm Jesus all day.
All day.
And if you don't like that, I can refer you to someone else.
Okay.
Therapy Black Girls, go look on there, search what you want, non-Christian. This is just, if that's what you want. And even the clients that come to me, I always ask them, like, do you want this embedded into your therapy or you don't? Like, it's some Christians, they didn't want to, and that's fine. But just know this is where I stand, and I'm not going to try to force my beliefs on you. However, if you have opposing beliefs, you don't try to force yours on me either.
That
part. So it's definitely a respect thing. So do I have all Christian clients? No. Do I have a lot of Christian clients? Yes. But on both sides, they respect where I stand. And I think the hesitancy came from the backlash that I see Christians getting in the media and other businesses, seeing people. I think there was a cake lady. I don't know how long ago it was, but she didn't want to bake a cake for a same-sex wedding, essentially.
I remember that.
She got a lot of fire for it. And I was like, dang, Lord. But I'm just like, the Bible says you will be persecuted. If you love me, you're going to have to go through what I went through. And it just is what it is. So I'm not saying I'm going to like just shun people away. But if it's not my specialty, honey, I can't serve you, because as a therapist and even my code of ethics, if I'm not the best fit, if that's not my specialty, I need to refer you out, because then I'm not serving you the best and you're not getting the best help that you need.
Yeah.
So I only take clients with my skills that I can serve with my skill set. If you have something outside that caliber, I will happily refer you to practices that I know who can do it. Yeah. People who want EMDR, I don't do that. The eye rapid mover, I don't do that. So I refer people to you. I can refer you to people who I know do that and do it well.
Yeah.
If you want someone to walk you through, I don't know, even something as far as, okay, I want to be a real estate agent. Well, that's not my specialty. So I'm going to refer you to another agent who can do it. But I just say that to say, like, whatever God has called you to do, whatever he's leading you to do, don't be ashamed to put his name on it when he gave it to you.
Girl.
Like, how dare us, you know? So I even had to repent for that. I was like, Lord, I'm sorry. Like, that I was even hesitant to put your name on something that you gave me. Like, how dare I just put my name on it and then not acknowledge that this came from the Lord? So healing her is essentially all about healing the you, and it's a journey. Sometimes we arrive at like our destination of where we want to be healed, but there's always more. Yeah. There's always more, because life doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop lifing. Yeah. Once you're healed, there may be something else that comes up, whether it's, a loved one passing or things happening in your life or your friendships or your marriage. There's always going to be something to heal from. So that's why it's healing her and not like a healed her, because it doesn't end. Your healing doesn't end. It's ongoing. Does not. It doesn't end until we see the Lord, right? Yeah. So that's the finalization of the healing. And I am woman based, so I serve women. I do couples every now and then, but my main focus is women, because that's, again, my skill set and who I'm called to. That's the area that God has called me to. And when I say I enjoy it,
come on,
God has truly graced me. I said, Lord, I don't want to feel like I'm working, and I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm literally walking and doing life with women who want someone to walk and do life with them. And it's a blessing. And I'm grateful. And actually, these boundary cards, I was like, Lord, I keep seeing these affirmation cards with these crystals and things, if that's your thing, that's your thing, but it's not my thing. Okay.
Mine either, baby. So mine either.
Like, I'm seeing these affirmation cards that are not like, they're not for Christians. They're not for Christian women. So I'm like, I need something that can speak to where I'm coming from, not just biblically, but also as a woman. So it's hard to find both. So I created these boundaries cards called Healing Her, and they're also mixed in with affirmations. And it just helping you implement your boundaries in a biblical way and removing the guilt and the guilt and the hesitancy that comes with putting in your boundaries. So these cards will get you together, because I read them myself. I'm like, oh, I forgot I wrote that. That's a good one. Yes. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's speaking to me right now. So you can get them at www.healingher.org. If you go over to our page that says shop, you will find them on there, but they are a blessing. They bless me even still. So yes.
And we're going to definitely put the link as well in the description, guys. So if you didn't catch that, I would encourage you to finish watching the episode and then go into the description box, and we'll have all of the ways to find Mrs. Brito, her website, her cards, her prayer book. Yes. And she has a book behind it that we're going to be talking about very soon, because she is an author, guys. She didn't mention that as one of the things about her, but she is a published author. So that is amazing. That is amazing. How would you say Healing Her has impacted you?
Lord,
how has it impacted you?
Ooh, it allows me to see myself in a light that my harshness towards myself never allowed me to see. So because I'm so hard on myself and I want to do things in excellence, I blinded myself to my flaws. And it's just like, well, you can't do this because you're supposed to be this. If you fall down, now you need to go in a closet for 10 days and, hide yourself because you're not supposed to be doing that. And everybody else sees you like X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So Healing Her has allowed me to, again, grace myself, knowing that I'm not perfect and the Lord didn't make me perfect. And if however people see me, it has nothing to do with me. Yeah. If people see light, thank the Lord, praise God. If people see something else, we praise God. But I still have stuff too. Yeah. And just knowing that I'm still loved, I'm still important, I'm still cared for. You're gonna make me cry. I'm
already crying. I'm sorry.
OMG.
I'm already shedding tears.
Just knowing that I'm still God's baby. At the end of the day, I'm literally his baby. I'm his child. I'm his daughter. not his baby in the terms of I'm still like doing childish things, but I'm literally his child.
Yeah, you are.
And how dare I be harder on me than he is on me? How dare I not forgive me for something that I'm ashamed of when he said your sins are forgiven and I throw them in the sea of forgetfulness?
Wow.
Who are you, Eliyah Brito?
Yeah.
That you would be harder on yourself than the Lord God Almighty, who holds you in his hand, who holds time in his hand. Who are you? So healing her has allowed me to just grace myself and seeing other women who have actually a higher caliber than what people would consider me to have. And they have these things that they're dealing with. I'm like, dang, like you really have no idea what people are going through. It can look pretty. They can look like they have it all together, but we all have something.
My God.
We all have something because we're so hard on ourselves. And especially because we can see people in different lights and we hold people on pedestals, it can be hard to believe that those people have things.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, those people have things. I have things. We have things.
Yeah.
But they're never things too far or too much for God to take care of.
Yeah.
They're never too much for him to carry. They're never too much for him to be like, all right, I see that. Okay, fine. But let me tell you that you're beautiful.
Yeah.
You're the apple of my eye.
Yeah.
You are kind. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're all these things. And when are you going to see that? Because God, he don't create nothing not of importance. Everything he's created all the way down to the dirt into an ant. He made it with purpose. So we all have purpose. And healing her has allowed me to see that you have purpose.
Yeah.
Having the workshops, I have purpose.
Yeah, you do.
It's just like, dang, if I didn't say yes, where would these people be? Would they be able to get their healing at this moment? Would they be gotten their breakthrough? And not that I'm the one that is going to give that to them, but if God gives you something, it's for such a time as this. And if you move or delay on it, you're delaying someone else's breakthrough and healing. So we have to be obedient and on time with God, with what God has called us to do. And that's what healing her is. It was time enough for me to stop playing in launch.
Come on. I'm over here getting teary-eyed because as you're talking, I'm just getting ministered to because I too am hard on myself. And I feel like a lot of women are.
Yeah, we are.
And I feel like that's why we're so hard on other women. Because
that's good.
Wow. That's because we cannot accept the design that God has created us in. We just like to project. And we like to judge and we like to just say things and critique and all these things because it's not because of the person that we're critiquing. It's because of our inner person. And you actually reposted something a little while ago and I reposted it too because girl, that thing got me together. You reposted something and it said, how can we say that we serve a perfect God, but yet we feel like he made a mistake with us?
Yes. Girl, that thing took me out.
It took me out.
I said, well, dang, Lord, my face on the floor.
Because what?
Yeah.
How, like you said, how dare we say that we serve this perfect God, but we think he went wrong with our creation? It's God.
It's something.
It is something.
And he's so gracious to still remind us. If we take the time to sit and listen and even watch all creation, he reminds us every day that how we were made and made with a purpose. There is no mistake in anything that is on this earth. Nothing, good or bad. He has a purpose for it all. Does. So it's just like the sooner that we respond to that purpose, the sooner we can stop being hard on ourselves. The sooner we can think that, oh, I'm just here, just taking up space. No, you're not. If you have that mindset, you're laying down so many gifts, talents, that God has placed in birth in you for you to birth against for such a time as this. And it's time to rise up. My God.
Come on.
Daughters, it is time to rise up. There is so many things going on. And the longer that we linger away from the calling, from God, from building legacy within our family, in our wombs, whether it's birthing a child or just birthing gifts and ministries. Like there's so much stored up in our womb that was there from when we were born. Before he formed us, he put these things in us. That women are vital to this world. Natural born women are vital to this world. And we need to remember who we are, not only in Christ, but also in our womanness, in our feminism, our femininity, and just remembering that I came from a big God. So I'm not going to downplay myself. I'm not going to downplay my looks. Okay, I don't got a BBL. So what? Okay, I don't wear makeup every day. So what? Okay, my hair is not all the way down to my butt. So what? I'm still a child of God. And he created me in his image and in his likeness. And I'm going to run with that. Period.
Girl, I'm over here getting teary-eyed. I'm so serious. And everything you're saying is true, but the reason why I'm getting so emotional is because I'm seeing the redemption in you. I'm seeing it because you stated that you were a fighter.
Yes.
In the beginning, God gave you that fight for a reason, and He's finally repurposed that fight. He's finally repurposed.
Yeah. Because
we don't wage war against flesh and blood.
No.
So you were never meant to stop fighting. You just had to know who your enemy was.
Ooh, that was good.
And now you know who your enemy is.
Yes.
And so you're fighting on other women's behalves. And just like I'm getting healed in this moment, I see the passion.
Yeah.
I see the passion behind healing her. The minute you started talking about healing her, there was just this fight, this gall, this real passion that rose up inside of you. And I'm just like, wow, God, I get to experience it. Not just on this sofa, but just in life.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed by being your friend. So just imagine how many other women are going to be blessed by being on your virtual chair.
Praise God.
That's going to soon turn into a physical chair. Okay.
All right. We receive
in multiple locations.
We receive it.
In Jesus' name.
We receive it. Thank you.
Like this is, Eliyah, this is your grace. This is your gift. This is your call.
Ooh, that thing heavy. Yes.
This is beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful to be able to see how God has redeemed you. Because He has truly redeemed you. And I have not cried on a podcast until today.
Oh, man.
But it's just like the presence, like just even your presence, like you know how to usher His Spirit in. And I just feel Him so tangibly right now.
Praise
and
God.
I just thank you for your yes. I thank you for this practice, this private practice that God has gifted you. And I just thank God for every woman that's going to come across, whether it's your chair, whether it's the virtual chair, whether it's just on the street or in the store, whatever. I just thank God that people are going to be able to experience Him because you decided to be the vessel.
Amen.
You said yes to being the vessel. Like you said, it's not you or it's not us that does the changing. We're just the car. We're just the car.
We're just the car. And it's funny that you said that because I tell my clients all the time, I'm just the GPS.
That's it.
You put in where you want to navigate, which trauma you want to process, which hurt you want to process, which relationship you want to process, and we'll go there.
Yeah.
When you decide that GPS is getting too much for you don't want to go down that journey more, we'll pivot.
Yeah.
But we got to go back if you want to truly get healed. So all this is a journey, and we all should have Jesus as not the passenger. He should be the driving seat.
Yes, come on.
He should definitely be in the driving seat. And sometimes it's hard to relinquish that control. But what has being in control done for you?
Yeah.
Lately? What's
nothing.
What have you done for me lately? So what has being in the driver's seat done for us?
Yeah.
Because listen, if I was in the driver's seat, car crash and burn.
Come on.
A few times. Okay.
Come on.
So it's just like, Lord, listen, you take control, you take over, because obviously I'm doing a bad, horrible job because I wasn't supposed to be in the driver's seat. I didn't make myself get here. So how do I think that I can make myself navigate this world alone? Like you can't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh. So good. So good, guys. I am just like, wow. We're going to make a small pivot because I want you to talk about that wonderful book that is behind you.
Yes.
Called The Burden of a Man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, sis.
It's funny because my publisher, I like to do things that throw people off to draw them in. Yeah. So the title of the book is a little different than the substance of the book. Okay. And my publisher wanted me to change the title to more like, and I love her so much. Shout out to Luminous Publishing, Carolyn Roberts. She wanted me to change it because she felt like it would be more in alignment with what's inside the book. And I said, yeah, I see that. But I feel led to make this the title of the book, and I would stick with that. She respected that. But the book is truly about the burden of a man. It's truly about my journey to womanhood, towards being a wife, towards being all these things, and getting out of the cycles that I saw in my family. So if I can pick it up, pick it up for a second. This is me and my husband's engagement picture, actually, one of our engagement pictures. But the subtitle of the book is so pivotal. And she told me it sounds like a dissertation. I said, doesn't it? But it's The Burden of a Man, a biblical perspective to generational cycles of rebellion that have been normalized. Ooh. And I say that so the subtitle is really the substance of the book, because I go through my journey of the anger.
Yeah.
I go through my journey of what made it hard for me to even respect a man simply opening my door for me.
Yeah.
I go through the journey of why it was hard for me to accept love.
Yeah.
So this book is essentially about how I progressed into womanhood, wifehood, all the things, and how it caused a burden to my man. And
wow.
Yeah. So that is what this book is about. And it's my first book. And I don't know if I'll do like a part 2 or volume 2 to it, because there's some edits that I want to make. But I'm grateful for the experience that I got with this book. And I do know that people will be blessed. People who have read it told me like, oh my gosh, girl, you got me together.
Yeah.
So it is truly a journey in just breaking cycles, because when you are raised by a single Black mother, and I love my mom. My mom is the best. When I say she can be friends with an aunt, she just that's where the empathy comes. She's just so kind and so sweet. But don't mess with her now. Don't mess with her baby.
Okay.
Do not mess with her babies, okay? But it's just like you see certain patterns in your family. It's just like, okay, someone has to stop this. And a lot of the what I talk about is what I learned being raised by a single woman. Not that she was wrong, and she did what she knew to do, and she did right, because I have certain skill sets and mindsets. Like, okay, if God forbid I wasn't married, I would know how to take care of myself. But it's a lot that I had to lay down because I'm married, and not only married as a woman, but as a godly woman, as a Christian woman. There's a lot more laying down that we have to do. I'm not the boss of this house.
Yeah.
My husband is the boss.
Yeah.
I could be the boss of healing her.
Yeah.
But in my house, Joseph Brito,
that's right,
he's the king of the palace, and what he says go. And my husband is so kind. He laid back. He's not like lording over me. He's not controlling any of that. But I know how to honor and respect my husband because of the things I had to lay down.
Come on.
And if I didn't lay those things down, I wouldn't be married.
Come on.
So, yeah.
Come on. Where can we find the book?
Amazon. You can find it on Books A Million. Anywhere where they sell books, you can find The Burden of a Man. And my husband actually wrote a chapter in this book from a man's perspective. And it's so amazing. I love my husband. Babe, you are just amazing.
Come on.
He wrote it from a man's perspective, and it's touching. And I was just so happy for his yes to it. I was like, well, you didn't have to do that. But his is called The Tale of a Man. His chapter is called The Tale of a Man by Joseph Brito. So I'm telling you, this is a good one.
My God. Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys, you better don't walk, run. Run to signing up for a session with Mrs. Brito.
Yes.
Run to signing up or purchasing her affirmation cards, her boundary cards.
Yes.
Walk, do not run, and go purchase A Burden of a Man. Because my God, today, a woman of many hats. And I love it. I love it. Before we end, I have 2 questions for you.
Yes.
The first question is, do you have any advice for that other therapists who are wanting to go full throttle with God in their business, but they don't know how to?
Yeah.
Like that are on the fence, that they know that God is mind you, God has called them, not them doing it on their own, but they know, because like I said, it's a heavy mantle.
Yeah.
It's a heavy mantle. People think that when we're called by God, oh, God's gonna use me. No, baby, you're gonna feel every way to that use.
Okay. You are. Yes, you are. You are.
Any advice for that therapist that know God has called them to go completely Christian based in this secular world as a therapist?
Ooh. My advice would be to pray. My advice would be to write down what God has told you, what he has showed you. And thirdly, it will be to do it.
Yeah.
Because the longer you belabor, the longer you belay someone else's breakthrough, blessing, all the things. And the longer that you belabor your own breakthrough and your blessings for being obedient to doing what he calls you to do. And I would say definitely get a team of people who support and who stand behind you. Get on Christian platforms to promote your business. Get on Christian platforms, and even non-Christian platforms to promote your business. Because believe it or not, what I have learned is that a lot of people do want Christ. Yeah, they just don't know that it's Christ.
Wow.
Some people have not been told the gospel in a way that's understandable and that's palatable for them.
That is good.
And it's just like when they hear it, and you might be that voice, you might be that business. So do it. Do it scared. Do it with hesitancy, but do it with God. Because he got you. God got you. You don't got you like God got you. If you fall, if you stumble, he's going to direct your path. He'll put the words in your mouth.
Yes.
To speak, to promote, to do your business bio. He would literally do it because he did it for me.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't ChatGPT.
Okay.
It was all God.
Oh, come on now.
Okay. So he will literally do it. So I would say do it, pray, write down the vision that he's showing you and do it with God. Do it with God. He got you. It's covered.
That's so good. Yeah. And you're right. A lot of people, they want Christ. They just don't know it.
They don't know it.
That was so intricate. Wow.
Yeah.
I needed that. So good. And the last question is, you know, guys, how we do on this podcast. How do you kneel on business today in a world that is standing on it? Specifically, in what ways has God shown you that you are set apart in the world, but not of the world?
Well, first is when he tamed his tongue.
Okay,
I can't clap back like everybody clap back. Now in my mind, I'm like, Jesus, you know I could light this room up with my mouth alone. Okay. I can set this place ablaze with my mouth.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna do that. And I have learned that my relinquishing my power or my ability to get someone together very professionally, but with my words, relinquishing that and just saying, okay, has caused so much more peace than what me speaking would have caused.
Yeah.
When sometimes when you speak, especially out of your impulse, it causes a lot more damage that can't be undone. So definitely I kneel on business by taming my tongue.
Yeah.
In this world that says anything, says everything, does anything, God is like, that's not what I called you to do. Yeah. A silent answer turns away wrath.
Come on.
Even though in that moment, you know you can get him. You know you got a good comeback.
Girl.
But it's just like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I have to answer for everything.
Yes, you do.
And I don't need nothing else added to my record.
Okay.
I don't need nothing else added to my record. So knowing that, one, I have to answer for this, and two, obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes, it is.
I'm sacrificing my desire to make you wrong. I'm sacrificing my desire to prove you wrong. I'm sacrificing my desire to be right.
That's so
And I'm just going to tame my tongue in a world that says, speak your mind.
Yeah.
And that's how I kneel on business. And also prayer.
Come on.
And it's so, and when I say prayer, it doesn't have to be like an hour in your closet. It doesn't have to be an hour. It just, listen, as you're driving to work, pray.
Yeah.
Lord, please help me to navigate this day. I'm going into work. My supervisor's already on my butt. Like, help me to stay focused on you. Amen.
Yeah.
I think we overcomplicate it because the world has. And I think because the world requires so much from us, we think that God does as well.
Yeah.
We put the world's requirements on God and be like, okay, Lord, I can't meet your requirements because I can't even meet the world. So I'm just not going to do anything. But the Lord, again, his burden is easy and his yoke is light. He doesn't require all that. And I had to learn how to simplify prayer for myself.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I have a free workbook.
Come on now,
on my website. And it literally walks you through how practical prayer can be. Washing dishes, praying over your dishes. Yeah. It's simple. Literally praying over the things that we overlook and that we just like, oh yeah, I got dishes, but somebody don't have dishes. Praying while you're feeding your kids, because okay, all my friends, you guys are beautiful, wonderful moms, but you have busy schedules and your kids have needs that need to be met, and you can't always step away. So we're feeding them. Pray. Yeah. Lord, thank you for the food to supply my baby. Thank you for breast milk to supply my baby. Yeah. Lord, thank you that I have a school that I can take my child to daycare with me. Thank you. Yeah. And just simplifying prayer. So that workbook is free. If you go to the website, it should pop up and say sign up, and you should get the workbook right away. Yeah. But it literally walks you, it takes a burden off of prayer. Yes. Because that was a journey for me. And I had to heal from that because I came from a ministry that told me that the way I prayed was wrong. Because it didn't have a whole lot of robo shadadaban or a whole lot of all these things in it. It was just like it's talking. Yeah. And we think that it has to sound a certain way or be done a certain way, but it doesn't. Yeah. So get the workbook if you want to learn how to simplify prayer, but definitely kneeling on business with taming my tongue. That's how I do it. Girl. And that's how we all need to do it. Okay. Listen, we got to get that tongue bridled. Yes. Okay. Got to be bridled. Mm-hmm. And is there anything new on the horizon for Healing Her LLC? Well, I'm not sure when this is going to be launched, but I am looking to hire people for my practice very soon. So you guys will see that on the website. If you are into social media, you're a social media manager, listen, hit me up. Okay. If you're good with the assistant, let me know. Virtual assistant, hit me up because I'm looking. And also, if you're a therapist, whether you're LMSW, LCPC, let me know because we are looking. But yeah, definitely want to hire for sure. And in the process of that, we do take insurances. So we take Cigna, Aetna, and Care First. So if you have any of those, we are licensed in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. So if you live in any of those states, you have any of those insurance, come over to our couch. Okay. We got you.
Yes. I'm sorry. My allergies were kicking me.
It's okay.
As she was telling me this is amazing. They are hiring guys and they are taking clients.
Yes.
And last but not least, Mrs. Brito, where can we find you? Give us websites, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. What is your handle? Where can we find you?
You can find me on our website is www.healingher.org. My Instagram is Eliyah Brito. Our business Instagram is @healingher.org. No dot in the middle. I only have my personal Facebook page. I don't really use Facebook, but it's Eliyah Brito as well. So website healingher.org, Instagram @healingher.org or Eliyah Brito. That's my personal page. And the website, I think I already said the website. Yep. So my only social media is Instagram, the website, and Facebook.
There you go. Yes. There you have it. And guys, don't worry. We'll put all of this, every single thing in our description. So that way we can make it easy for you to click on, go and do whatever you need to do. Please, guys, I'm telling you, I was over here getting my life. Do not walk, run. Therapy is your friend. Yes. It is your friend. It is one of the resources that our source, Jesus Christ, gave us to utilize to help us live the life that he has called us to live. He wore thorns on his head so we didn't have to deal with the iniquities and the transgressions that we deal with. And he allows us to go through that by using therapy. And not only that, having a bomb Christian therapist to help you navigate not just life, but your spiritual life as well. So guys, don't walk, run to www.healingher.org and sign up today. Well, that is all we have for this episode. Guys, I am just like flabbergasted right now. But like I always say, whatever you do, whatever you say, always remember to kneel on business. See you later.